All right. Yep.
Finish the content like tomorrow.
Wednesday. I'll say Wednesday. I don't really want to push too much. All right, Wednesday. All right, now let's talk about reducing loans, balance loans. This time, this lesson, we are actually going to use ClassPad. So whatever you need to know for the test, I should finish by Wednesday.
And when we publish the practice test?
Yeah, you will get things by Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Sorry?
2 or 3 or 4?
Sorry?
How many practice tests will you give us? Couple.
We'll see how it goes. All right. I don't want to overload all of you. Could be 2 or 3. Definitely a minimum of 2. Could be up to 3. All right. Now, so we talk about reducing balance loan using recursive rule. This time we are going to use the financial function of ClassPad, and then talk about the word amortization. It's a big word, but once you understand the concept, it's not that difficult. All right, and then you got to think about the amount, amortized amount for loan or investment, and talk about the interest or value of the loans after a certain period. What I'm going to do today is going to show you how to calculate the interest using manually, whereas tomorrow I'll show you using ClassPad another function where you can calculate the interest using your using the ClassPad. All right, now let's recall reducing balance loan. It's just a loan where interest is calculated on the amount still owing after each repayment is made. And over the life of the loan, the amount still owing reduces with each repayment, and therefore the interest charges also reduces. All right? I show you this spreadsheet. Now, these spreadsheets, we know the repayment is fixed at 265. And what we ended up at the last one, when the last period, we overpaid the loan. Correct? In many ways, we can avoid that we can avoid something like this from happening. What I want to think about is if we could start off by doing all this spreadsheet instead of using a recurrence interval, we do it on your compound interest in your ClassPad. So basically, this is the same as your investment, and it's actually NT, number of time periods. Interest rate in percent, always in percent. Principal, this time you enter it as a positive number rather than a negative number because you are borrowing the money from the bank and the money is in your pocket. All right, so think about it, it's plus and it's in your pocket already, and that's money. Therefore it's positive. Now repayment. This time repayment is a negative amount because you are paying from your own pocket to the bank. Alright? So it's a negative amount. And then the future value is a final amount. Now, if it is a loan, the final amount is, you want it to be 0, correct? Alright? And then PY and CY. At this stage we are thinking about the same thing. All right, PY should be the same as CY. Eventually, we will think about when the number of installment is different from the number of compounding period. For example, in a lot of loan, the real life situation is the loan is counted annually, but you are paying it back monthly. So you will have different CY and PY. Real life application again. So we'll think about, could be, at this stage, could be 12 because it's monthly, and then CY is 1 because the interest is calculated as in yearly. And this number of time period will then be PY times T. All right? So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but think about it. This time, PY is considered as the number of installment of payment per year, which means at this stage, we are thinking about PY as the same as CY. Positive for PB, slightly different from your investment. because investment, you're putting the money in the bank. This time, the money is from the bank inside your pocket. You got it. All right, you're buying a house or buying a car, whatever. Now, here, let's think about what we have done there. We know that we've worked out the monthly interest is 0.35 from last lesson. All right, 0.35%. We know the present value is 6,000. The installment that we are paying back is minus 265. We want to find the future value. Can you all put that in your ClassPad, please? Based on what I've given you. Based on what we did last lesson. We know that the loan is over 24 months. And we know that the monthly interest rate is 0.35. We have done it using recurrence interval. We are using this function now. And once you input all that in, tap FV to find the future value. And you can see that FV, the future value, is actually 97.886736, which is the same as what we have done based on the recurrence interval, correct? Yeah? You recall, just go back to your notes and check your notes. Make sure that the future value is the same. Alright? Because you're overpaying it now. Overpaying it, the future value of the loan is 97.8886 or 97.87, which is what we worked out based on the spreadsheet. So you can use your ClassPad to work out the future value. Right? So if it is positive, which means you have overpaid the loan. If it is negative, which means you have underpaid the loan. Alright? Which means you may have one more period to go. Everybody cool with that? If you are, we'll move on to the next bit. Now, this time, what I want all of you to think about is, here, the focus question is, what if I want the final value to be 0 instead of 97.87? What do we do? How do we use the ClassPad? The ClassPad would tell us how we can work out the amount that we have to pay. Again, it's the same regular amount that we want to pay, but it's going to be different from 265 now because we want that to be 0. Correct? Yeah? So, here, this is what I worked out based on my ClassPad, and I input the number in, which is the repayment. Instead of the repayment of $265, I've reduced it so that at the end, the final value is 0. So this is, again, same. It's a fixed regular repayment which leads to a final value of 0. Happy with that? Understand that? So in fact, that is called amortization of a loan. Means we've got a fixed and regular payment and the final value is 0. Now, unless you know the amortized amount, using the recurrence relation will not actually give us the amortized amount. You need to use your ClassPad. With the ClassPad, you will be able to work out the amortized amount. So you see the difference. We can use the recurrence interval, still paying back a fixed regular amount. What happens is at the end, you may have overpayment. Whereas in this case, if we use your ClassPad, you will actually have the same fixed regular amount, but the final value is completely 0. Happy with that? Let's see how we could use the ClassPad. Now, what I want all of you to do now is slightly change your ClassPad in terms of leaving the PMT absolutely empty. Put in the final value as 0. This is how you do it. The final value now is 0. Present value is 6,000. Alright? And then work out what PMT is. Click on PMT. You've got to pay back minus 261.08399714, which is what I've done in my spreadsheet, which is I pay back $261.08. See, you use your ClassPad, it's pretty straightforward. You could work out the amount. Now, knowing this is good, but it's how you solve the problem. I'm going to show you a couple of things that we need to do in terms of solving problems. Alright? Yeah? Now, the thing is, you could also, if you want, for example, if you want to put your final amount in as a, alright, let's do something. Clear N, please. Clear N. And then put in the interest rate as 0.5. You're still paying the same thing. Clear N, put in the interest rate as 0.5. Alright? Tap on N. What does that give you?
24.47.
24.47. You've got 6,000. You are paying the same amount. Which means you need more time to pay off, correct? Because this amount is not enough to pay back until after the 24th month. Alright? Now leave this at 24. Make this 0, make this 0.5, and find your PMT. What is a regular payment?
265.
265. So you need to pay more. Correct? Yeah? So you can see, you can use your calculator to play around and make sure that you know what you can achieve. So let's change the percentage to 1%. 1%. Keep N as 24 and see what is PMT. Alright, check that please and see what PMT is. So you can see if the interest rate is higher, the PMT will be higher as well. Is that right? Yeah? PMT will be higher because the interest rate is higher and we are keeping the amount. We are keeping the amount repayment. Sorry, we are keeping the duration the same, 24 months. Alright, are you all happy with that? Now let's go on to the next slide. Alright. Next slide. Alright, this is the example now. Read the example and then I'll go through it carefully with you. Now, you got to think about how we could actually answer a question like this. So, if I use a ClassPad, let's use a convention of a ClassPad. This is present value, correct? This is I%. It was agreed that the loan has to be repaid by equal installment over 10 years. Alright? This will be we don't know whether this is N or what. We know this is 10 years. Let's have a read. Here is interest rate. It's not, you don't know, no, sorry, you do know that it's not compounded over monthly or fortnightly or whatever. Therefore, it's annual interest rate. So therefore, this is N. Alright? Yeah, it says here the interest is calculated annually and then the repayments are made annually. Alright? Over a set period of 10 years. Determine the annual repayment. So the annual repayment, if you put it in here, you know N. How you answer the question is, you must write down this. N is 10. I% is 9. PV, 6,000. PMT, FV is 0, PY is 1, CY is 1. Alright, So once you've done that, you can write down the number, which is minus 9349.205395. Now, you would at least give 3 to 4 decimal places when you do that. So that, yep, 60,000. My fault. It is 60,000. 60,000. And you should get PMT. Write it down at least 3 to 4 decimal places so that when you answer the question, all right, the answer to the question, the annual repayment is 9349.21. Yeah? So that people know you're rounding up properly, whoever's marking it. Now, B, calculate to the nearest cent the amount of interest paid. All right? So the amount of interest paid, what do you do? Let's work out the total repayment. Equals to 10 times 9349.2054. Let's use 4 decimal places. Equals to 9349.2.054. All right? And then total interest equals to total repayment minus principal, the principal, and it's therefore 33492.05. All right? Now, how do you do part C? How do you do part C? Determine the year when the balance of the loan is half. All right? Let's actually use your ClassPad. Under financial, I will show you. Go to compound interest. So I would always clear all so that you know what you're doing is starting of the same first question. So N this time is 10. I percent is 9. Present value is 60,000. Okay, now this time the future value is, oh actually we don't know N. We really don't know what N is. Alright, but we do know, oops, we don't know what N is. We know 9. We know PMT is from previously. Now you need to work out what PMT is by putting down 10. So you use your calculator to work out your PMT. This time, what you need to change is get rid of the N, and half the future value is half of that, which is 30,000. All right. So you keep your PMT. Keep your PMT. You erase your N, but you change your FB future value into half the value. Got it? And then tap on N. If you tap on N, it's 12.944000258. So therefore, write everything down. Do this, okay? Spend your time just transcribing on your paper, and you can answer the question. So if you've done that, I would say that, oh, again, I've got an issue. My fault. What I need to do is the future value is minus 30,000. Not just half of it is minus 30,000. And then tap on that. It's 6.045. It's my fault. Because you're still owing the bank. You've given the bank back 30,000. So therefore it's minus 30,000. It's not 30,000. My fault. It has to be minus 30,000. Yeah, that's right. My fault. So it is actually minus 30,000. So you still owe the bank $30,000. So therefore it's minus 30,000. All right. So once you've done that, you would know that this time keep PMT. All right. And now future value. Future value is minus 30,000. So therefore, n equals to 6.054. It will take 7 years. For the value to half. All right. Yep. You must remember the minus 3,000. All right. Example 2. Oh, I should have put up the my ClassPad solution yet. So can you try example 2 without looking at my ClassPad solution? Slightly different. I changed the question slightly. This time the interest is calculated monthly. Alright? And the repayments are made monthly as well. And then you need to determine the monthly repayment and work out the interest. Right? Using your ClassPad. Alright, the change. Important change from previous question is this. Change in PY and CY and change in your N. N is the year times the repayment period, which is P. So it's 120 times 112 times 10. Alright, which is 120. So therefore you know the PMT is minus 760.05. 0546. So the monthly repayment is 760.05. All right, and then you can work out the interest. Alright, give your answer in 2 decimal places. So work out the total repayment, take away the total interest. Alright, total repayment is 120 times the take away the annual, take away the 120 times the installment, the monthly installment. Any question here before I move on to example 3? All right, let's have a look at example 3. All right, example 3. I've shown you the, but try first. Try the example 3. Alright, a sum of 35,000 was borrowed at an interest rate of 3.6% per annum, compounded monthly with monthly repayment of $460. Determine the amount owing this loan after 3 years. All right. What I want you all to think about is how do you work out N? How do you work out the future value? What do you want? In this case, what you really need is a future value, correct? Let's not look at all this yet. So you need to think about what the future value is after 3 years. So it's a monthly repayment of 460. You are given the monthly repayment, 460. You know P and T is 460. And you know it is compounded monthly. 3.6 is given, and then 25,000 is borrowed. All right, you can see that what I've done is, this is 3 years, is 12 times 3. All right, because it's 3 years. You know that PY is the same as CY because it's compounded monthly with monthly repayment. So from there, you can input I%, present value, negative, and then therefore you know that you still owe the bank $10,386.99. So copy everything down, 10,386.99. Make sure that when you answer a question like this, you know how to use all this function here. Sometimes you may be asked to calculate I%, which means you want to leave that blank. If you know N, 36, you know the payment, you know this is how much owing. Alright? Got it? Negative means how much owing. So the second one, determine the number of payments needed to fulfill this loan. So again, you put everything in. This time, the future value is 0. And the answer is 59.41, which is 60 months. Alright? 60 repayments. Now, what is this actually telling me? I don't get a full, really nice number here with N equals to like, for example, 40 and 60. You are still over repaying. Agree? You are repaying above the amount. Or the future value is 0 when it is 59.40, but you are paying more. Alright. Although you can work it out, the total interest, based on all this, you can work out the total interest. Yeah? Happy with that? You understand what I mean? What I mean? So just make sure that you understand all these little things, the nuances of how to explain. Alright? So 60 repayments required. Alright? Now, finally, example 4. I'm not going to say anything. I want you to try it first. So let's think about, start off, it's 10 years, and then we are going to change it to 8 years. Alright, 10 and 8. So use your ClassPad, please. You know this is PV. I equals to 3.6 and monthly PY equals CY equals to 12. Alright? So N equals to 10 times 12, which is 120. Now, the way I answer a question like this, I do highlight this and make sure that I know what the numbers are. Alright? And you can work out what is the monthly repayment using your ClassPad. This is the equal amount, equal and regular amount. So we now know PV is 25,000. I equals to 3.6%. PY equals to CY equals to 12. And then N equals to 12 times 10, which is 120. All right. Future value, of course, repayment. Future value equals to 0. All right. If I use my ClassPad. Oh, wrong one. I want ClassPad. So again, I will clear page, which means I've cleared everything. Present value is 25,000. Percent is 3.6. Future value is 0. This is 12. Now, if you do not want to work up 12 times 10, what you can do is just type in the box 12 times 10. It will work as well. It will definitely work as well. Because when you just tap on your PMT, it's minus 248.387. Alright? Which is, write down, if you copy everything down. Alright? This way, step by step, you will show PMT equals to minus 248.387. I'm just going to answer the question. That's all. So is 248.39. 387, 248.39. That's monthly repayment. Now determine the amount still owing after 2.5 years. Alright? Use your ClassPad again. This time you know that PMT is the same. Future value we don't know because we are going to look for it. Now 2.5 years. 2.5 years is 2.5 times 12 because each year is 12. 12. 2 years 24. 24 plus 6 is 30. So you can do 2.5 times 12. That's fine as well. And then keep the PMT the same because that's what you're paying. And then tap on the future value. So you still owe the bank 19,565.64. Alright? So use your ClassPad. This is 19,565.64. Alright? Make sure that you transcribe everything down. Now, part C. If Richard wanted to pay off the loan in 8 years, determine the total interest he paid. Here, what you need to think about is start working out what the amortized amount is. What is the regular payment for 8 years? So we know the regular payments for monthly repayment for 10 years is 248.39. Alright, let's go to your calculator. This time, the N future value will be 0. N is 12 times 8. Alright? You don't know the PMT. Let's clear that first. Yeah? This is how you put it in. 12 times 8, which is 96 months, rather than 120 months now. Alright? I percent is 3.6%, present value is 25%, and if you tap on PMT, it's 300.1019. Alright? PMT is 300.1019 or something like that, or 1927. It's up to you how many decimal places. I reckon say write 3 or 4 and then round it up. Alright, so here we can work out monthly repayment equals to 300.10. So therefore total repayment equals to 300.10, or use this whole number 10193 times 96 because it's 8 years, and I'm pretty sure it worked out to be 28809.79. Therefore, total interest equals to 3809.79. It's 28,000 minus 28,809 minus 25,000. All right. All right. So now, D. Is Richard better off paying the loan in 8 years or 10 years? Now, to justify your answer, the word justify is important. What you need to work out is either working out the total interest or working out the total repayment. It doesn't matter. All right? You can work out the total repayment and one take away the other. Quote the amount. All right? So, let's see. If I do work out the total interest. Total interest for 10 years. Total interest for 10 years equals to 120 times 248.39 minus 25,000, which is 4806.50, I think. 4806.50. So 4806.50 minus 3809.79 equals to 996.71. So how you could answer, once you work out these numbers, answer it by Richard is better off to pay the better off to pay the loan in 8 years because he would save 996.71. Write something to that effect. You can say that the loan is 996.71 less, the total repayment is 996.71 less, or so on and so forth. As long as you convey the message of that. Alright? Always convey the message. Okay, I'm going to stop the lesson now. What I like you to do is exercise 3B. There are only 5 questions. Try that. Tomorrow we go on to 3C. 3C is sort of the same as 3B, but I'm going to show you the different function of your ClassPad, which is the amortized function. I'm not going to use every single one, only a couple of boxes in there, that's all.